toi ngani te o tano mai leo fio mai pa ni to lua tino ni sila pa la fa ia tino Samoa tino mai na tino ni sila da tu stala ia fa mai tano ma ni fa tino ina tino na o ma solo mai si po Kapelito sa failato faccia nonna non si può subito certo ma non mi si la se la valpaglia poi mio figlio in là anni me cavolo so di lei si la poi si tanto malo poi di me ciao non fare lei ma fanno la mia sorella io non c'è non tutto sanga to tasi se tatu ya to ta ina le act si mo ono suto sanga to se no le ta ina le tatu party o le act so no ya si mo mai sila santo ti ya no mai no ya ne for the part here if you not feeling out the tough na for ia male le tai pa dia for you no sila o te sinte te ya ho no mai ya ne pale mio maro ru
members of the media will start our proceedings this morning with the opening remarks and statements from the ministers. Then we will open up the floor for questions. By now you should know that due to the time available, we have 4 questions, 2 each, 2 from our media and 2 from Samoa. Well, you, Honorable Prime Minister.
Well, we had understood that we wouldn't necessarily be making formal statements, but since we've been invited, may I just start with members? We've just completed a meeting of our cabinet and the Prime Minister and the ministers and parliamentary colleagues, especially with the leaders of the other parties in the New Zealand Parliament. We've had a very wide-ranging discussion. Prime Minister and I had the opportunity to have a short bilateral just between the two of us. And we seem to have spent more time talking about regional issues when we were talking by ourselves. And then, of course, a few key issues around bilateral relations with Samoa. But then we expanded that discussion when we met as a group. So the range essentially, of course, climate change, the recovery from COVID, education and health being very key, the recovery and rebuild of our tourism economies, of which, of course, New Zealand has a very well-developed tourism destination. Are probably facing some issues. With tourism, we had the king tides recently. We were a bit fearful that that would further impact us, but fortunately, it's not as dire as we thought it would be. But nevertheless, there is a slight damage, of course, and costs to that sector, of which we will respond to because we're very keen for the sector to recover and rebuild. Was one of the issues that we discussed. We prioritized agricultural development as one of our rebuilds for Samoa, and our Minister of Agriculture, knowing that New Zealand is very strict bio protections, and we appreciate that, of course. But this is an area where we engage with, not least being the RSE workers that work in your horticultural sector mostly. So it's been wide-ranging, nothing too contentious, very friendly and warm. And of course, because the Prime Minister has travelled here with the delegation for the 60th anniversary of the Treaty of Friendship, the discussions have taken place in that spirit, that we are friends and neighbours.
Thank you, Prime Minister, and can I reiterate again here at this forum our thanks for the warmth of your hospitality and your government's hosting this really important occasion for Aotearoa, New Zealand and Samoa. I won't repeat your canvassing of the conversation. You captured well the diversity of this discussion and also the tone of the meeting. It is unusual for these bilateral engagements to occur with both a full cabinet, but also with representation from across the Parliament from Aotearoa. But I think it was fitting on this occasion that we meet in that manner because, as you say, the basis of this meeting was ultimately the friendship that we have as two nations, not as political parties, but as nations. Of course, alongside the discussion that you've already outlined there was some discussion of additional project work that New Zealand and Samoa will embark upon together. It has become tradition that when we mark the occasion of our Treaty of Friendship, we seek to highlight some of the priorities that we have together by committing to additional projects, and we've done that today. The first is with the priority your government has placed on the redevelopment of the market on the waterfront, which, if I recall, was damaged by fire in 2016. All businesses are owned by women. So that's an area we're pleased to work alongside you in that redevelopment project. The second area of partnership, and it is a major priority for the Samoan government, but also for New Zealand, is climate resilience and adaptation. You have your own priorities, Prime Minister. I know that, for instance, renewables and the adaptation work that will be required to protect and improve infrastructure is part of that. And as part of our climate partnership, we've seen as an initial starting point for those projects that we will work on together under your lead, a commitment of $15 million. But again, as I say, these are initial starting points for what I understand will be, and believe will be long-term partnerships on these dual priorities. Prime Minister, again, it's been an honour and a highlight for us to be able to come and join you for this dialogue and for this memorable occasion. It has, yes, been short, but it is not lacked, I think, and so we're very grateful for that. So, good if I don't have any other Okay, so for the answering questions, you need this mic. It doesn't appear to be on. We can project is the issue that you all might do. We've got one, so we might share.
Prime Minister of Samoa, you're opening back up to the world again, you're welcoming back tourists. Can you tell us a bit about that? And is it easy for you to do that, given so many of your workers are in New Zealand, in Australia, picking crops?
Yes, it won't be easy because there has been an impact with the RC, and we've discussed this issue. And it's not particular to Samoa. Other leaders in the Pacific Rim were before. So I think there's a general review and it's not just the tourism sector, it's also impacted on other sectors, even the public sector. But I think one of the things that will help, as you know, we don't have a national airline. We're working with the incoming airlines, mostly in New Zealand to start off with. We have given Qantas a license now. There are other applications. But I think scheduling of flights and the frequency too much pressure.
Prime Minister Fiama, can you explain the state of Samoa's post-COVID economic recovery, but then also explain why an investment in rebuilding the Sabalalo market will have such a significant impact for New Zealanders who might not understand why an investment there, what that will mean?
Okay, I suppose the best way I can respond to a question that's really quite broad is that, you know, in overall, the approach by the government, and it's not only post-COVID, but just as a new administration coming in, is to make the investment in our communities to enable all the players to work with government to rebuild back post-COVID. So that's the general approach. That's been a significant shift in terms of where government is investing the money. So it's a lot more in communities, it's a lot more in the different sectors, not just private, in the civil society sectors, in the servicing sectors, and so forth. With respect to the market, I think the main point there was the former administration, because the market had turned down, they had made a decision to relocate it out of, well, not too far away from town, but not as central or accessible as the old market. We've come into government, we've determined this is such a significant business hub, and it needs to be centrally placed so that it's accessible. So that decision was made. It's a market that has a range from, you know, agricultural produce to, you know, cultural products. It will be, as many markets are around the world, you know, they become iconic and an experience, especially for tourists. But of course, the main point is that it's accessible to the locals.
To go online.
My question is over to both Prime Ministers. And it's on the treaty of country. 60 years is a long time, and as our Prime Minister alluded to last night, it's a lifelong friendship. And my question is, Prime Minister, what seems to be offering Samoa, and also Samoa to New Zealand in terms of this situation, I guess in terms of possibilities in the travel process?
We've heard some of the areas where, under the auspices of the Treaty of Friendship, we will continue to work together. But I think the most important thing with our friendship is that it won't be underpinned by individual projects, but by the fact that we commit to work collaboratively with one another on the challenges that we each face, and that we both respect and appreciate the contribution that each makes to each other. And here I want to highlight the contribution that Samoa makes to New Zealand, which I've tried to use every opportunity to reflect on that because it is significant. The Samoan community in New Zealand, the diaspora, makes a significant contribution. It adds depth and diversity. It contributes to our education sector, our NGO sector, our religious communities, our civil society, in every walk of life. It's the third most spoken language in Aotearoa. And so for us, it's about what we can do to continue to work together in the spirit of that partnership and relationship. So that's a broad brush, but you've asked specifically on the question of movement. One particular area where we've committed to doing additional work this year is that we do think the movement of diplomats and politicians in particular should be easier into New Zealand. So we're working on making that movement much more seamless. The other area is obviously a commitment to keep working on the RSC scheme because it should be mutually beneficial to both countries. And Samoa has raised concerns around the loss of skills, and so let's work together to make sure that it continues to be mutually beneficial. And the third area is under the guise of PASA Plus. There is work on labour mobility, and we've discussed today ways that we might work together on that issue too.
Now, you waves are more online.
Welcome. Your right honourable Chief Rapper. Samoa and New Zealand have had a close relationship over many decades. In terms of trade, economic, sports, education activities have aged much. How do you see this relationship going in the future? And what can Samoa do to grow its export markets in New Zealand in terms of agriculture and dry resort?
Thank you for the question. Firstly, I'll start with the last part of your question. There are significant opportunities, and of course, the whole underpinning of PACER was to ensure that we see those trade flows between our Pacific nations. One of the issues that's been raised with us is that in New Zealand, of course, whilst we benefit from those extra trade flows, particularly of some of the horticultural products that come from Samoa, in some cases our biosecurity and quarantine measures have been a barrier. I know that in recent times we've worked through that issue on citrus products. It's been raised with me that we have a few other areas where Samoa would like us to prioritise, and we'll continue to work that through, because these are areas where it's produce that Samoa produces and New Zealand does not. It is mutually beneficial. We just need to make sure that we get, but that won't change our commitment to also working with Samoa on what your existing priorities are, and the Prime Minister has been very clear that that continues to be health and education as well. Finally, we're very keen to, again, the new incoming government has made a priority public sector capability and capacity building. This is an area where we would like to stand in support, and the Prime Minister has flagged a couple of areas where we think that we can deepen our partnership there. Tourism, regional economic development particularly being potentially some of those.
Thank you, Minister.